All right, so thanks everyone for joining Antrea's community meeting. Today is Monday, July 18th in the US. And I think on the agenda, we have two items. I think the main item is Wenying, who's going to be presenting a support bundle for VM, virtual machines, if I'm not mistaken. And then after that, I'd like to give a short update on Elm support in Antrea and Antrea Elm charts. That's correct, right, Wenying? You're presenting support bundle for VMs?
Yeah, correct. I'd like to present the support bundle implementation for VM case.
All right, well, get started whenever you're ready.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay. Could you see my screen?
Yep, it's all good.
Okay, thanks all for this meeting, and I would like to share to present something about the support bundle implementation plan in the VM case. This is the agenda. I will introduce the motivation for the support bundle implementation, and secondly, I would like to give the design for it. And the last part is I will introduce some corner cases we might hit in the VM scenarios, and our plan to resolve the corner cases. The motivation, as we may know that for the existing Antrea, we have implementation for support bundle, and we run Antrea agent on every work nodes, and Antrea agent starts a port and run API server, listening on the ports. Then the user can use Antcato to collect the logs from Antrea agent and get the bundle files to the place where Antcato is running. But this is not suitable for VM cases because VM is such an insecure port on the internet. First, because we can't open a port and listening for connections from everywhere, as it might introduce a security attack. So it is not easy to configure a port to run your API server to serve the requests from other places. And secondly, is that for VM cases, we know that we might have some different VPCs, and we would like that one agent on one VM has the permissions only allow it to access the VM itself information. So we don't want an agent to get the information from other VMs. And of course, we can run Cato locally on every VMs to collect the bundle files and upload it to a centralized place, but it is inefficient. So my proposal is that we want to introduce a mechanism to notify Antrea agents running on the VMs to collect support bundle files and actively upload the files to a central path. So with this proposal, we want to have a CRD configured to configure the requests on the bundle files collection to tell VMs what we want to collect and which VMs we want to collect bundle files and where we expect the bundle files to upload. And secondly, to avoid the VMs, to avoid the VMs get other VMs information, we introduce internal objects used between Antrea controller and Antrea agent, so that we can ensure the agent running on VM only gets the information focusing on itself, and the agent running on the VM can report the progress of the bundle file collection and uploading. And we also use a secret to store the authenticator for the agent to use to to access the file server while uploading the files. In the design way, first is about the CRD. This is an example we expected use in the VM case for support bundle configuration. In the CRD, we have nodes fields, which tells the expected VMs on which the support bundle files are required. We support two kinds of nodes. One is the general Kubernetes worker node, and the second is the external node, which are used to represent the VMs in Antrea. And with the nodes, we can use these two methods to configure the expected nodes. We can list names of the expected nodes, and we can use a label selector to tell Antrea controller to choose the expected nodes by the selector. With the name list, if it is empty, it means that all the nodes in the namespace for external nodes are required. For Kubernetes worker nodes, we don't require namespace field configured. And the second configuration item in the CRD is a duration. It tells the agents what logs are expected, and the logs newer than the given duration are requested. We can use 1 day, 2 hours, or 20 minutes, or something like this. And if the duration is empty, it means that all logs in the Antrea agent runtime are required. And the third item is the timeout. It means that how long the request is efficient. If the timeout is come to, it means the request is expired, and the request might be failed if the required VMs doesn't completed uploading the files. And the fourth item is the file server. It specifies that the user expected the path to upload the VM bundle files. In the file server, we can configure the IP address or domain name of the file server and the path or the URI in the target address. And we support HTTP or HTTPS as the protocols to upload the files. And verb is also optional if the HTTP verbs are supported, but if it is not configured, post is used as default. And the last part is about the authorization. It tells the agent how to access the file server. By now, we plan to support two authorization methods. One is token, and the second is API key. And both the values are passed using a secret. The secret reference is provided, but the values are stored in the secrets with base 64 encoding. In the CRD, we also have a status configured which tell user for Antrea controller to aggregate the status of the request. In the status, we have these things that we have a phase to tell the user that in which stage the support bundle processing is on. It had the state machine is like this. After the CRD is created, the status is marked as pending, and any VM starts working, for example, collecting the bundle or uploading anywhere, the VM starts working, the process, phase is marked as processing, and only when all VMs has completed to upload the files, the CRD status is marked as processed. But if time is up and any VM fails to upload the files, the CRD status is marked as failed. And in the runtime, the status has some other information used for the user to know the progress. We have the current nodes, which means Antrea controller calculate the number of the expected external nodes to upload the files in this request. The current nodes means that how many nodes has completed the file uploadings, and the desired nodes means that's how many expected external nodes are calculated by Antrea controller. And the last part in the status is a field reason. It is used to tell user why we mark the CRD status as failed. By now, we planned these three reasons, including the node conflict, not uploaded, or unknown. A node conflict means that if a request involves some nodes which are involved in another request, and the other request, CRD request is still in the processing state, the field reason might be marked as node conflict, but not uploaded. It means that so one time is up, some agents on the VMs are not completed the processing. Unknown is used for other unpredicted reasons for the failed cases. This part is about the internal. Sorry.
I have a few questions regarding the spike. Could we
okay.
move back to a spike?
Okay, so fun.
Yeah. So first, do you mean we also plan to change the support bundle implementation for Node? For regular code?
We plan to have a unified solution for both Kubernetes worker nodes and external node.
Father, in your case, if we want to connect support bundle for both type, how we do that? We need to create two CRDs?
Yeah, we would like the user to create two CRDs.
Why we need this kind? Do you think it's okay we just remove the kind? We just use like names or some selector to select the nodes.
You mean that we will only use the name list or the label selector to choose the nodes, but we can think about it. Maybe it is working.
Okay.
So, but if so, that's my one concern from my original thought is that I'm not sure if we can configure what can. I mean that if we have one Kubernetes worker nodes and one external node using the same name, and how to process it, just using the label selector or name. That's the original thought why I introduced the kind here.
Okay, I think probably you can think more about that. I feel at least we need a way to connect both. That's my feeling. I mean, some way to say I want to connect both external nodes and Kubernetes nodes.
Okay, you mean that so we should use one CRD to collect both?
Yeah, that's my thinking. If I just
okay,
want to support the bundle, why I must create two CRDs for two types?
I will think about it and record it as a follow-up question in the later.
Okay, sure. I have a few questions regarding to file servers.
Yeah.
So first, besides HTTPS, do we plan to support others in future, like FTP or whatever?
Yeah. FTP or something is planned, but for the first release, I just want these protocols supported.
Okay, and then for verb, what other verb we support for HTTP?
You mean for HTTP or for SFTP?
Yeah. Okay. So first for HTTPS, what we support besides post?
For example, put or patch or something. Actually, we would like some, because we don't know what the file server exactly is. So I mean that so we don't know if the what verbs are actually expected for the file server to upload the files. So we want the user to tell us that what verb he wants us to use in Antrea agent. That's
But
why
in your first version, what we support besides post?
I would like to have post and put.
Okay. Okay, got it. And for FTP, there can be multiple verbs too, or FTP doesn't have verb?
But we don't have verb in FTP.
Okay. Okay, probably we can discuss more when we review the CL. Yeah,
Sure.
I just want to understand. I'm trying to say if we're not very sure, probably we don't need to define what the future extensions if we are not certain.
Okay,
Yeah, but we can discuss more. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question
Okay.
too.
Okay.
Where is the label selector you comment in your comment? I didn't see it in the spec.
Sorry, you mean what do you mean?
The comment says it supports label selector to define expected nodes, right?
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just asking where is the label selector if I want to use it. I didn't find it in spec.
Actually, this spec I only give an example for the no names list. If we want to use a label selector, I would like that the user use no select. Actually, I didn't give the CRD YAML. I just gave a CR example here, and yeah, maybe I can give it in the patch, and you can have it review. This is just mean that we would like to support the label selector for node selections.
Oh, okay. And why we need UID in the secret reference? I think it's not typical, right? It's not easy to get UID. At least it's not very convenient.
Yeah. Okay. I will remove it in the example.
And this how does agent get the secret? Will we grant the permission of all secrets to every agent, or we let controller to pass the actual secret to agent?
We would like to give the permission to Antrea agent to get the secret.
Then after I create a support bundle, I need to create a secret reference in it, and I need to grant the read permission of this secret to agent. Is that true, or we just give all permission, the read permission of all secrets to all agent? I think the latter is not safe.
Yeah, we would like to that the user after the user create a secret, it's just to give the permission on the only secret to Antrea agent.
That would be not very convenient to use, I feel, because it requires at least 3 configurations to make it work, right? One.
Yes.
I remember you mentioned that there is communication between controller and agent, and the agent will not read the support bundle directly in case it gets information of other VMs. Is that true?
Correct. Yes.
Then do we consider that we also use this channel to pass the actual secret to agent? So that we only need to grant the permission of secret to the controller. As we trust the Antrea controller, right?
Yeah. Good suggestion. Maybe we can add it in the logic. You mean that so we can grant the permission to Antrea controller only, and the Antrea controller pass the values and set values in the internal objects and pass them to Antrea agent, so that Antrea agent doesn't need the permission to get the secret configurations, right?
Yes, if we have this channel.
Yeah, sure. I will modify it. Thanks for the suggestion. Another question?
I actually have another question about whether this channel is really needed before we talk about this authorization problem. Because I see your reason to have this channel was to avoid one agent knowing other nodes information, right? Is that
yes?
Just about the node name, or it's about other?
You are correct. Actually, we don't expect that Antrea agent knows any other VM's name in the VM cases. So, but for CRD, we don't like that. So we configure one CRD for dedicated for one VM. We expect that a CRD may maybe used for the multiple VMs which has the same configuration expectations. But so we would like that a VM can get its own name information. That's why we would like to have internal channel.
But when I'm reviewing the PR about the external node, I see that we grant the external node list get and watch permission to Antrea agent. So this information is already exposed, I think. Is that
true? The permissions is given to the Antrea agents in one namespace, but so we are not able to do a strict restriction in the RBAC because we would like that so one RBAC file is used in one namespace, and we would not like that so one RBAC is used per VM. So we can't specify the names in the RBAC configurations. But so for Antrea agent logic, we don't have the logic to list other external nodes or to get other external node names. In the logic, we only configure the name of it itself. So Antrea agent only gets its own external nodes. But if we have sync up all the VMs in the support bundle in the to one Antrea agent, it means that from Antrea agent's logic, it can get multiple VMs, not only itself, but if the hacker modify Antrea code to get some additional configuration for other VMs, it can work. So that's not what we want.
I understand that we only get the external node of itself, but I think the token has the permission. So I think there's no difference that user get the node names from the log, or it use the token directly to list the other nodes in that namespace, because they already have this permission. But if this is about namespace, I also see that the support bundle has namespace. It's a namespace scoped resource. So do we expect only node names, only the nodes in this namespace should be matched, or it should be global scope.
For support bundle on external node configuration, we expect it is working in namespace scope.
So to collect a global, the support bundle of the whole cluster, we need to create a support bundle per namespace. Is that true?
Yes. Yes.
No, but when you said you want to change the support bundle implementation for the regular nodes too, right? And how it works?
Yeah, for regular nodes, we don't require namespace, but for external nodes, it is required.
No, but you mean you have two CRDs, one for regular node and one for star node? Because your CRD is the namespace scope, right?
I think it can work, right? If you specify the support bundle to be a namespace scoped resource, you cannot create one resource with no namespace specified.
I didn't think about it. Yes. So you mean that it can only be cluster scope if we want to support the Kubernetes work nodes case?
I guess so, unless you create two resources like cluster lower binding and lower binding. And if we change the implementation of regular node, does it mean we require a file server for the current and control support bundle to work, or the previous command will continue work?
The previous command continue working.
Okay.
I want to know if it is a strong opinion about remove the internal objects. I mean the internal channel between Antrea controller to Antrea agents, or you just think it is not needed, and we can think about something others than how to avoid the VMs to get other information from different VMs.
I think at least the first reason is not very reasonable, because the permission has already been granted to agent already. So it knows it has a way to know the names of other external nodes. But for authorization, I'm not sure whether there is a better solution without an internal channel. We could discuss this offline, of course.
Sure, thanks. And then we can continue to the next. Okay. This is about support bundle status, and it's about the internal support bundle objects. As we used to mention about it, it is try to sync the resources from Antrea controller to Antrea agent, and Antrea agent only has the permission to read the internal objects from Antrea controller, and so that's we come to the target. VM agents cannot never know other VM's information from this channel. For internal objects, we also have the support bundle status. It is reported from Antrea agent to Antrea controller, so that Antrea controller can aggregate the status and update the CRD status to tell user the phase. Okay. Then come to the workflow. The expected workflow is like this. First, the user creates a support bundle CRD in some VPC, and the request is coming to API server, and Antrea controller watches the support bundle add event from API server. Then it calculates the internal object and synced to the agents. But the agent only means that the VMs which are selected or defined in the CRD nodes. So other VM cannot be able to receive the internal objects. Then after VM Antrea agent receives the internal object, it begins to collect the logs and upload the bundle files to the target file server defined in the internal objects, which is copied from the original CRD objects. And at the same time, when Antrea agents begins to update the internal support bundle status to Antrea controller, and Antrea controller can aggregate the status and update the support bundle CRD status to API server. After the support bundle CRD status is marked as processed, the user can download the bundle files from the file server. And one thing I want to mention is that actually we have another configuration in the Antrea controller for the failed case. Antrea controller will upload a file to the file server to introduce that to tell the user that which nodes failed to upload the files. That's what I will introduce some details in the corner cases. For security control, we would like to say something. One is that the agent only watches internal object from Antrea controller, and other nodes information is not included in the internal object. And the credentials like the token or API keys are not provided in the CRD directly, but using a secret instead. And for token is used for HTTPs, and to enhance the security, user can generate a one-time token with timeout control if necessary. Yeah, sorry. For counter cases, we thought about 3 cases. One is that user creates one request, but the request is for support bundle collection, but the request is not completed yet. Then the user creates a second request, and in the both 2 requests, a same node is included. So it means that if we don't process it, it means that there might be some duplicate on the support bundle collection on Antrea agents. So to resolve the corner case, we have 2 option solutions. One is that we can use a webhook validation to check the node in the list of the second request and compared with the existing and growing requests. Then if it finds that a node conflict with the first request, Kubernetes can, the validation webhook can reject the request. And a second option is that we don't use the webhook validation, but we just accept the request and let Antrea controller to check the status before creating internal objects. The similar thing is that the request will not be, the second request will not be processed by any Antrea agent. Instead, Antrea controller directly mark the second request as failed and provides the conflicted nodes in the results. The second corner case is that a user deletes or updates a support bundle CRD when it is processing. We will use a webhook validation webhook to reject such operations. The third case is that if there are many VMs, for example, hundreds or thousands of VMs included in the CRD request, how to list which nodes are failed to upload the bundle files. It is not efficient if we include all the all the node names in the API response. So the solution is that a controller will write a file, including the field nodes list, and upload it to the file server provided by in the support bundle file, and mark the CRD of status as failed. There might be two types of the node list in the file. One is that if the support bundle object is marked as failed because of node conflict, the failed node list file only includes the conflicted nodes. And if the support bundle object is marked failed because of some agents failed to upload files, the failed node list only include which nodes failed to upload the files. That's the cases we thought in the support bundle solution in VMs. And that's all for my design. And welcome to the questions.
I think for the first case, do you think?
Yeah.
I feel that requesting a support bundle is not a very frequent operation, and it doesn't seem needed to support a concurrent request. Do you think we could just deny the second request when the first is still handling?
You mean that we just don't support two CRD requests in the same time?
I feel it's much simpler and might already meet the requirement.
But so let's think about multiple VPC cases for external node. If the first CRD is for VPC 1 and a second is for VPC 2, actually there are no conflicts in the two requests. If we reject the second, it means that the agents running on the second VPCs will start collection the bundle files only after no other VPC VMs are working on the support bundle request. That's not a common cases, right?
That means two troubleshooting teams are working on that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still deny it by namespace in that case, right? Because that would be in different namespaces.
You mean not check the nodes, just check namespace?
Yeah, kind of like take Chan's idea. You said no to prevent concurrent requests, but you can also do prevent concurrent requests if they overlap in namespace. That's still simpler than checking the node status.
Yes. Then what about the scenario that we have 4 nodes? For example, we have 4 nodes in one VPC, and the first request about node 1 and 2, and the second is for the node 3 and 4. You mean?
Yeah, but in that case, I think it's fine to reject that, right? Because that's very unlikely.
Okay. Okay, got it.
It does seem normal that multiple teams are working are troubleshooting together, and they have their own target. They have their own targets. Or we could make this even more simpler, that we allow a concurrent request, but we only have one. We only handle one request at any given time, and we only proceed the second one after the first one finishes. Maybe this is simpler. Just have one worker. So regardless of whether there is an overlapping or any conflict.
That sounds good to me.
Okay, got it. I will add it by one.
All right, so thanks, Wenying. looks like some follow-up discussions are needed, maybe for API design and for the RBAC mechanism. Any other questions for Wenying?
Yeah, I have a general comments on this controller to agent channel.
Yeah.
I feel probably we should not just add a channel for a single feature. That's my feeling. If we want to add a channel for isolation purpose, probably we should revisit all features. For example, trace flow, and maybe some other features today using CRD to be the channel between controller or between API and the agent.
You mean share the existing channel for the co-work between Antrea controller and Antrea agent? Or just not use?
I'm saying probably it's in my mind it's a strategic decision to make if we want to switch more communication between API controller to agent to this controller agent channel compared to CRDs.
Okay.
But I now say only for support the bundle case, we use this controller channel, but for other features, we still use CRD.
For stats, we use a channel like this, right?
Sure. I think a very similar case is trace flow. If finally we want to support trace flow for external node for VMs, then you have exactly the same issue like permission or expose the node name to other agents, something like that. Maybe there are some other cases I'm not really sure. Like realization, for example. I'm not really sure what the case is, but I'm just thinking.
Yeah, I think for network policy stat, it's the same issue, right? If you want
Okay.
Agents on external nodes to report them as well.
Okay.
Got it.
All right, thanks Wenying, and thanks everyone. So we have about 15 minutes left, and I just wanted to give like a super quick update on the support of Helm charts for Antrea. So I'm gonna share my screen. It's only gonna take a few minutes. Okay, so I just wanted to let everyone know that starting with the next Antrea release, starting with Antrea v1.8, it will be possible to install Antrea using Helm charts. So as you guys probably know, for the last couple of months, we switched to using Helm to generate Antrea templates. We switched to using Helm templates to generate the Antrea YAML manifests, but the Helm templates were not like user facing, but starting with Antrea v1.8, it will be possible for end users to install Antrea using Helm charts. And so we're gonna have like 3 charts, one for Antrea itself, one for the flow aggregator, and one for Theia. And actually, Helm is already the primary installation mechanism for Theia since Antrea v1.7. And so those charts are automatically uploaded to a chart repository every time there is a new Antrea release, starting with the next release. And they are available at this address, charts.antrea.io. So you can just add the Helm repo using the Helm client locally on your machine, and then you can install the charts like any other Helm chart. And yeah, whenever there's an Antrea release, so the charts are added to the release assets. So they're added to the GitHub release page as downloadable assets. And then we notify the Antrea website, which also has a workflow which is going to run for each Antrea release, and it's taking care of updating this file here, which is index.yaml file used by the Elm client to download information about the Elm repository. And so every time there is a new Antrea release, information about the Antrea charts will be added to this file. Right now we did some experiments with an alpha release, and so you can see we have like an Antrea chart, and there should be a flow aggregator chart as well, and a chart for Thea. And that's about it. And since we now have Elm charts, I was able to register Antrea on artifacthub.io, which is kind of like a central website where you can find and install Kubernetes packages. And so the primary mechanism for registering new packages is to use Elm chart. Basically, you need to have a Elm chart to be able to list your project on that website. And so if you type Antrea here, you will find the three different charts that we have for Antrea. And right now those are like alpha charts, but as soon as we release 1.8 for Antrea and 0.2 for Thea, there will be the let's call them the production ready charts. All right, so that's all for me. That's all for the update. That was very quick. If you give it a try and you find any problem with the charts, please open an issue on GitHub, and I will take a look.
Antonio, I have a question. After you have uploaded the artifacts to Artifact Hub, do we still need to add the Helm repo before installing Antrea? Can it be discovered automatically without that step?
No, I don't think so. I think Artifact Hub is really just to a registry for available packages. And so I think if I click on it, is it gonna have the installation? And I click on install, see it still gives me the steps that I need to do, basically. So it's still like a central, it's just a central registry where you can discover charts and look them up, and I guess you get the installation steps.
I see. Thank you.
They have added features on top of that, and we're not like leveraging like most of them, right? I mean, it's really mostly for documentation purposes. They can also like, you can also like, it's a way you can subscribe to new releases as a user and get notified when there is a new chart being released, a new version of Antrea being released. And as a chart owner, there are other features you have access to, like you can advertise security vulnerabilities and the release in which you're fixing that vulnerability and things like this. There is like a changelog feature, but we're not using that at the moment. All right. All right, so that's all we had on the agenda. We have about 10 minutes left, so if there's any topics that anyone wants to bring up, now is the time. Or any question you want to ask about anything. All right, so we're all getting 10 minutes back. Thanks everyone for joining, and thanks Wenying for presenting your proposal on support bundle for external nodes. Please send me the slides after the meeting and as a PDF, and I will upload them to the Antrea website. And I will see everyone at the next meeting in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.